Hello, this is Horror Studio 1, and this is my unedited podcast. Hello, this is Horror Studio 1 coming to you once again with a live stream. So before we start today, I want to tell you guys that for tomorrow, there will be no video because as many of you guys do know, I recently moved back to Hong Kong, but I will be flying back to Canada for Christmas and New Year's. So tomorrow I will be on an airplane, and I have to apologize. I did not have the time to prepare a video for you guys because will be flying very, very soon. So, but still, I have a story for you guys today of a personal experience of mine since moving back to Hong Kong. So let's rewind and start from the very beginning. This is a true story that happened to me. And this is also a cautionary tale for those individuals who want to use dating apps in Hong Kong. For many of you guys who don't know this, Hong Kong and Asia, basically they like to use Tinder as a dating app for social media, but also they like to use TanTan as well for a dating app. We also have what's known as WhatsApp and WeChat for communication amongst friends. So in Hong Kong, a lot of people do use Tinder, and a lot of equally amount of people use TanTan as well. TanTan is basically like the Chinese version of Tinder, mainly the same thing, swipe left, swipe right, but it's most people that use are Chinese, essentially. So when I first moved back to Hong Kong a couple of months ago, around 4 months ago, I didn't have a lot of friends here, you know, I was very lonely, and I just wanted to maybe like find somebody, you know, just go around and check stuff out, you know. So I downloaded Tinder and I downloaded TanTan. Now before I used this, I never in my life used Tinder and TanTan before. So when I downloaded the two apps, I was just like testing stuff out, talking to girls and stuff like that. And of course, I got a few good matches. Mostly it was just people saying hi after like one or two very short interactions. It usually dies off, and then there's nothing that ever comes out of it. So when I was using Tinder and TanTan in Hong Kong, I realized there was a bunch of girls that I would constantly see on both of the apps. And I'm saying like constantly. Like the same girl, she would have the same profile, same photo on both of these apps. And these girls were gorgeous, okay? But their face, it was the kind of gorgeous where you kind of knew it was like plastic surgery gorgeous. Like it was just too perfect. And the angle of the photo was always like showing their cleavage a little bit, you know? And it was obvious that these girls weren't just normal girls looking for a guy. It was probably like a business, or they were in some kind of modeling thing or some kind of entertainment industry. So eventually, I matched with a lot of these girls and I started messaging them. These girls are essentially nightclub hostess or basically escorts, okay? So in Hong Kong, when you use this app, there's an area, it's basically near Mong Kok. That's basically where many of these girls live. And if you see a girl that lives there, there are many girls that live there. They are essentially working class girls. They work in probably either selling you their time or selling you their body, okay? So there's a couple girls that I met that I can tell the difference of them with normal girls with very similar characteristics they all have. First of all, they are very aggressive when talking to you, as in they will initiate conversation with you. Now, if you guys have used dating apps in the past or even any male-female interaction, not trying to be stereotypical here or sexist, but mostly in these situations, it is the man who initiates the first contact, who says the first thing. But these girls are just freaking aggressive. Like, these girls will message you every single day in the morning when you've barely known them, okay? And one thing they like to talk about is your work. Now, this is also a very similar thing amongst all these girls. They want to know your work because they want to know your income. What kind of job do you do? How much money you have saved up? And they will unapologetically ask you that. Now, my personal experience is with this one girl, okay? You know, she looked pretty, and then on the very get-go, she basically told me, hey, you know, I work at a gentleman's club. Do you mind that, or can we be friends? And in my mind, I was like, dude, I'm a fucking YouTuber. Like, I have an interesting job, too. Like, I have an interesting life. I'm like, yo, it's always cool to meet new people, even if, you know, like, I'm not trying to hook up with every girl I see, you know, smash or pass. Like, I was definitely, like, in the middle there, you know? I could have passed, I could have smashed. Mostly, I knew in the end I was going to pass it because I wasn't really, I was still kind of afraid of like meeting random people on the internet and then having those kinds of relations with them. So, but she was interesting to talk to, and honestly, she messaged me almost every day in the morning and initiated all those conversations, and it was a fun time. Eventually, she started probing me on my job. That's one thing I realized after talking to these girls, is that they want to know your income, okay? Second thing I realized about these girls that kind of annoyed me and kind of made me really stop actually wanting to talk to them, because before I was like, I knew these girls, like they're crazy, like they probably they're controlled by people, whatever, but I was still willing to use that time because I was just, honestly, I was bored, and then it didn't take too much of my time to reply to a comment. I would smile when I would reply, and then I would just do my own shit afterwards. Not like we're talking on the phone 24/7, right? But the one thing that really got to me and got me to actually stop replying to a lot of these messages is every day, like they would basically, in my mind, they would basically ask me the same shit over and over again. So day one, we talked like for an hour or whatever. In general, we just exchanged like 20 something messages, talk about my work, what I do, how old I am, and then the next day they would ask the exact same shit. So essentially, it was a different person, obviously. So I was being catfished as fuck. The guy on the other side was probably a dude, probably the manager and stuff. So those are the moments where I stopped talking to these girls and taking them as seriously, because I knew it wasn't the same exact person. But this one girl that kept messaging me, she seemed pretty congruent with what she was saying. Like, let's be honest. This situation, I kind of wanted to believe that it was a girl, even though the third sign or third red flag is that they don't send you voice messages, even though on WhatsApp, by this point, we've had each other's WhatsApp and WeChat, okay? And on these apps, you can basically send a voice message, like saying, hey, yeah, you can reply in your real voice. And I wanted to do that with these people because I wanted to make sure that they were actual people, actual girls at least, even if they didn't look like what they did in the pictures fully. I just really wanted to be like a 40-year-old sweaty dude, right? So I would send them these voice messages, and they would say like, oh, it's not really cool, let's not do that, blah, 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 obviously. And then you just kind of realize that these people are probably just 40-year-old dudes, balding dudes. So eventually, there's like a major red flag that this is going on. And this last girl, the tipping point was she was basically telling me to give her money. She was saying that she was from, not from around here, and she was worked and she was signed to this company. She's working as this like night hostess and stuff, and she can't go out on the weekends. She can only go out if you pay. And then she had this like really good scheme. Actually, this scheme I found out like months later. I watched a YouTube video online, and that YouTuber actually exposed this scheme. So I realized it was the exact same scheme that was used on me, but I also saw through it. Basically, what she would say was, hey, I really want to go out with you, but my manager has me signed, so I can't go out on the weekdays, and then sometimes even on the weekends, I'm not really free. So the only way I can actually go out with you is if you come and you pay me. Now, what you do is you pay my manager $2,000, Hong Kong dollars is not that much, but still, $2,000, and then after I go out with you, I'll pay you back, so I can just get out from my manager, and actually I'm on work. But her idea was that I really like you. I want to like, I obviously like you because I'm willing to pay you back for what you're gonna pay my company, right? So that was the whole plan. Obviously, it was like I go, and then obviously she wasn't gonna pay me back. Like, it was gonna be a misunderstanding. They were just gonna heckle me for money, like just force me into it, or I was gonna get my organs like fucking harvested or some shit like that. So it was like during that time I was like, you know what, fuck it. I was like, yo, I'm so bored anyways, right? And I like a good story. And I was also, that day I was with my boy, like I was with my really good friend, and then we were talking about this, and he was like, yo, like it's so dangerous or whatever. We were at like a Starbucks or something, and like I was showing him all these messages as me and this girl were interacting. And then I was like, you know what, fuck it. And I asked my friend, I was like, hey man, like, are you willing to come with me if it gets to that point? And then he was kind of hesitant, but I saw that if I forced him or whatever, or if I convinced him, he would really come with me because he didn't want to see me die. And honestly, two dudes, like, we're both like 6 feet tall. It's like, we got it, okay? We got it, okay? It's Hong Kong is not that dangerous. It is still a society where basically there's still laws here. It ain't no third world country over here. So I essentially, so me and my friend, yeah, that's what I said. And then, sorry, someone just walked in my room. But, okay, let's continue with the story. What happened after was, yeah, I told my friend, I was like, yo, bro, let's do it. And then I was like, sure, give me the name of this nightclub that you work at. I told the girl that. And then I also told her, she told me the name. And then I was like, okay, tell me the address. And I was fully expecting to go there, confront them, see if this girl was real, you know? And I was like, you know what, dude? $2,600. I was like, yo, that's interesting, bro. Like, I don't know if I'll be willing to pay it, but at least I want to go see what's up, you know? And after that message, when I asked her for the address, she never replied. Like, she never got back to me. That was the end. And I think she kind of caught on that I was asking too many questions, and I seemed to not be hesitant enough. Because prior to her asking for the money for me to basically bail her out and for her to give it back to me afterwards, she had never talked about that. And when she told me that, I was just like, fuck, sure, whatever. Like, I was like it was too smooth, I think. And she was like, yo, she was catching on. She didn't know she was facing someone that's basically crazy. That's basically a YouTuber. That's basically like the guy that likes to try new shit. She thought like I was just some average, you know, normal average Joe or some shit. So she's like, why is this guy so, you know, like saying yes right away? He must be a cop, or he must be some kind of like, this must be like a honeypot or some kind of trap or some shit, you know? I think that's what they thought on the other hand, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't a her that was on the other hand. It was probably her manager, like a dude, like a 40-year-old sweaty dude. So in the end, they never got back to me, and after, honestly, that incident, I didn't trust dating apps anymore. There were legit people on the dating apps, like legit girls and stuff. Girls on dating apps is kind of hard to get to. It's too much work, in my opinion. I'd probably meet a girl someday, you know, it's not even a big deal. But after that experience, it didn't, like, I didn't find the fun in it anymore, because it's like the other end isn't even fun, you know? Even if I'm accepting their offer, they just back out in the very end anyways. So, yeah, that was just my experience. Good thing I didn't get killed. It was probably pretty dangerous, but I am who I am, so what else can I say? Anyways, guys, yeah, so no video for tomorrow again. I am flying. I'll be on an airplane, but you bet your ass the day after, hopefully there will be a video up. Thank you guys for the continued support, and I'll see you guys soon. I really want to make the unedited podcast like a real thing, like separate from this channel one day. I feel like this thing can go somewhere. So put in the comments what you guys think of my story, what you guys think of me taking an unedited podcast and making it into its own thing if you guys really want or interested in listening to it. So I'll talk to you guys soon, and peace out, guys. See ya. Bye.